So we're going to do another one of these. This is my worst copy of Amazing Spider-Man 57. There's some ink on here we should try to remove. We got some, obviously a lot of spine splitting stuff. We're not going to fix that, but we'll clean it up. Try to get some of these wrinkles out of it. Maybe just press it a little bit. Some pen marks in here. Some loss of color. We're not going to fix that, obviously. And then, Hey everyone, so that book I just pressed and cleaned didn't come a lot cleaner. I got some of the ink out of the surface. Book looks flatter, a little bit of dirt came out of it. It's okay, it's not great. This was a medium success. And so I'll just kind of review the book for a minute and we'll call it a day. So this is my sort of good plus VG minus copy of Amazing Spider-Man 57 from February of 1968, which is, I think most of this story is published to gain interest in the Kazar character, which is, of course, it's an obvious ripoff of Tarzan. He's a lord from the Savage Land. He first appeared in X-Men number 10, 3 years previous. And, I mean, he's got the Zabu, he's got a saber-toothed tiger, he's actually a wealthy lord, he's coming to visit New York, all those kind of things. This is a lower grade book. My higher grade book, copy of this book here is a really nice one. I really like this book. It's a fun yarn. I kind of like it. It's a fun story. You start off with Peter. Spider-Man is stealing a sandwich from a rooftop party, having amnesia from his attack last issue with Dr. Octopus. Doesn't know who he is. Steals a sandwich. He's sleeping out in the cold and rain. He doesn't know what's going on. He's looking for some sense of who he might be, but he senses that he needs to keep the mask on. Aunt May is worried to death about him and collapses. Poor Aunt May, she's been barely hanging on for 50 years. Then Aunt Anna calls the ambulance for him. Some guys in Jonah's office are having a discussion about whether Spider-Man is good or bad, and Colonel Jameson and Captain Stacy are on the good side, and some of Jonah's colleagues are on the Spider-Man's evil side. They're having that classic discussion. Then, here we go, Lord Plunder, whose original Plunder is actually Kazar, bringing Zabu for some lawyer stuff. He's got to come into town, and people are interviewing him because he's apparently a celebrity. Comes into town, and then Jonah says, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to get this dude to try to beat up Spider-Man for me and take him out. The guy's not interested in money, but he says, you know, we'll be ridding the world of a dangerous menace. And, of course, Kazar is up to the task. At the same time, we have Harry here who finds a spider tracer. Oh, Peter's been missing for a few days because of his amnesia. So Gwen and Harry have both been missing Peter fiercely. Harry finds a spider tracer, and the only possible solution is, naturally, Spider-Man captured Pete. So Pete's swinging around, and he decides he's going to go visit Jonah Jameson's office, has a confrontation there. He's going to tell everybody he's got amnesia. Happens that Gwen comes in because she has to make an appearance, and she's upset that Spider-Man is here. She says, what have you done to Peter? What have you done to Peter Parker? Where is he? She's like flipping out. And he starts smelling her perfume and seeing her. He's got the hots for this chick, and he doesn't know who Peter Parker is, but he knows he likes her. So he says he better blaze. And of course, Gwen is here for her reaction shots. She's overexcited about everything. Kazar goes, whoop, Spidey. They spend a whole page and lots of panels just showing how agile he is and strong, and he just happens to find a guy doing construction that has a rope with a grappling hook and doesn't think to take one with him from the Savage Land, I guess. Oh, look at this. This is a great one. I love this. This tells me I am on the right track. This piece of fiber, which is spelled F-I-B-R-E, incidentally, from some sort of costume. So, you know, it's got to be Spider-Man's costume. And he's following the scent. I think there's a little bit of a precursor to the heroes we would see later with the super senses like Wolverine, even though Daredevil existed at this time. So even though he has no superpowers, he senses that he's catching up on Spider-Man. And then Spidey jumps in and starts to just sort of spontaneously revealing his identity to Jonah after a 1-minute trick, saying that Jonah says he's a fan. Is just kind of whipping the mask off. I guess his Spidey sense isn't working there, because sometimes his spider sense later, especially in the 200s, would warn him that someone was watching him sneak into his apartment or something. Apparently it doesn't do that here. Kazar jumps in. The fight begins. Spider-Man ought to be able to clean Kazar's clock in about 2 seconds. But we have to give some exposition here to help everybody understand what a cool character Kazar would be to read about on our own. So he says, "He dare lunges at me at Kazar, who can dodge the attack of the fastest cheetah." And so, anyway, it's pretty unbelievable, but it's a fun story. You talk about this is great here. He says, Peter says, "But how do you get friendly with a free-swinging clown whose body scissors grip like a steel vice?" This is a guy who's thrown down with some pretty big heavies. I mean, not too long ago it was the Rhino, and here we got Kazar squeezing his legs around him. It's kind of interesting. So they have a fight swinging around, and basically every panel is talking about how awesome Kazar is. Then all of a sudden, Zabu's Kazar sense goes off from in the hotel room somehow. And he knows that he's in danger, even though he's really not in any danger. And he roars and he runs to the hotel. Spider-Man runs out of web fluid. Fight. Oh, he bends this around like a sapling because, that's how antennas work. Launches himself exactly at Peter. Running around up here. There you go. Then he times everything just exactly right so that he would land on a tree. Nothing's an accident. And then out of nowhere, of course, no spider sense yet again. Peter gets pushed into a pond or a lake or something. We don't know. The water just sprang out of nowhere. Zabu knocks him in there and presumably drowns him or mauls him or something. I don't know. But then Kazar plunges in and pulls him out. So to be continued next issue. And it's kind of fun. It was a fun story. I really enjoyed it. The writing was okay. Art was actually great. It was some good classic Romita stuff. He wasn't working on this too long when this came out, and he did a good job. I really liked it. Some good ads here. You got the pet seahorses. You've got some blackhead sucker. So if you're too skinny, you have some tablets to fatten you up. You've got some MMMS, Marvel Marching Society stuff. These are good, fun ads. You've got a nice Stan soapbox in the back here talking about the Comics Code Authority a little bit. It reads, "Every day the mail brings a few requests from our far-flung legions of loyal ones, asking us to explain in the name of Aunt Petunia what the little stamp at the upper right-hand corner of our covers really means. The one that reads approved by the Comics Code Authority? Well, just as the motion picture industry has a self-regulatory agency to ensure the propriety of the product, so too does the comic magazine industry. Any periodical which might contain offensive or unacceptable material cannot win that little stamp which appears upon all our covers. It's just as simple as that. Now then, we've often been asked how we at Marvel actually feel about having to submit our masterful yarns to an outside agency for approval. Our answer is, we're delighted to do it. After all, the Comics Code Authority and your batty bullpen share the same overall objectives. We both want the stories you read to remain within the bounds of good taste." So what's going to be interesting is in about 40 issues, there will be two issues of Amazing Spider-Man which don't bear that little symbol in the upper right-hand corner because of Harry's drug use. And that is interesting. So now hear this. Please keep all letters no longer than one page. Have mercy, mellow ones. Oh, that's great. I love it. So this is fun. One of my favorite things to do is to go onto Google Earth and look up some of these addresses where Ray Hernkey and Scott Thurlow and Sam Wood and these people used to live. You can imagine some little kid in there reading these Spider-Man books back in the 60s. It's fun. It's fun to do and to sort of appreciate the history that happened in these old yarns. This is a good one. I have some staining back here in Foxing I couldn't remove, but it's okay. We don't really care. It's fun. Anyway, that's Amazing Spider-Man 57. That's a good one. I'm about to press this one out here, which is number 60. It's a nice book. It's got a few little wrinkles in it, but it's a good one. And then this is one I just finished pressing here. This is a beautiful book. This is 233 of Amazing Spider-Man, which is La Tarantula. There were some wrinkles up the side here, some some little bit of a spine text. You can see a little bit left, but it's a good book now. I'd put it at probably near minus, BF plus now. Looks good. Did a good job on that particular one. So anyway, that's the end of that particular yarn, and I hope you enjoyed today's story. Take care. Bye-bye.